Hey there, everyone. Appreciate you joining me here with another episode of Beyond the Forecast. Every Thursday, we're starting things off with a look at the Saginaw Skynet, which has given us a nice view of the moon. So that bright light that you see in the sky, that's not a light that's out there on the street. That is the full moon. That is a supermoon right now. And I wanted to at least give you an idea of what a supermoon is and why it's so impressive right now, why it's so big, why it's so bright. You may have noticed that it is brightening up everything outside during the nighttime hours. Actually, kind of looks pretty nice out there with some of those chillier conditions. But what exactly is a supermoon? Well, it's coincidentally happening with the full moon. Now, it's when, so we talk about the supermoon. That is a full moon that happens when it's at its closest approach towards the Earth. So it has an orbit around the Earth, but it's not completely circular. Some points in its orbit, it gets a little bit closer to the Earth as opposed to, other points where it's a little bit further away from the Earth. So that is what gives us that bigger look to the moon when it's right there on the horizon as it was rising here just about I would say about an hour ago. It started its rise right there on the horizon. But it's a supermoon because it gives us a bigger look at the moon. It's brighter because we're reflecting more of the sun's light back down here at Earth. Also have those temperatures out there for you. Quite the cool evening, but it's not going to be as cold tonight. October's full moon is also the Hunter's moon. So that is going to be at its biggest and brightest here this evening, and then it'll start to get a little bit darker. We'll start to see it getting closer to the half moon, and it continues that cycle to the new moon here in just a few weeks' time. So a little bit of a spiel about the supermoon, but those temperatures tonight, patchy frost possible in spots because we will get down back into the 30s, but no 20s expected because we are on our way back into the warmer conditions, which are going to happen each and every day here. After today, we got back into the 60s for a lot of us. We'll be well into the 60s tomorrow, around 70 on Saturday, and then into the 70s Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday. And we are going to stay very sunny as we go through this stretch of warmer conditions, warmer temperatures. Sunny through Tuesday. Tuesday will feature a little bit more of that cloud cover. Then a cold front swings by and swings through on Wednesday with cooler temperatures and rain showers along it and also behind it as well. We are also going to see around this area of high pressure a little bit of wildfire smoke that will be well up into the sky, so it will look potentially hazy at times tomorrow. It won't be as bad as some of those more significant wildfire days that we've had in the past, but a little bit of haze nonetheless with our bright blue conditions and no cloud cover whatsoever because this high pressure, it is expansive. It is stretching several states. So it's going all the way up into Canada. It expands all the way out here, all the way down towards the Gulf of Mexico, and it is far-reaching, which is giving us nice conditions not only here, but also as you go, all the way down towards Atlanta, down towards the south, into Texas. They're seeing some nice, calm, quiet conditions, and they're seeing their first cold front in a while, so they're enjoying some of those drier conditions, less humidity, and some of the more comfortable temperatures down there. One thing that is not good about this high-pressure system is it's not going to allow for any rainfall, which may not be the worst thing forecast-wise, but we are now all either abnormally dry or in a moderate drought. Even up towards Traverse City, they are in a severe drought because we just really haven't had too much of that rainfall. So we need the rain, just not really going to be in the forecast. Even when we do see a chance of rainfall come Wednesday, you'll see that those numbers barely even creep up. We only get a couple hundredths of an inch of rainfall, maybe as much as a tenth of an inch of rain in our northern communities along that front. Just not looking all that impressive for rainfall. So the drought is going to continue to here, maybe even continue to get worse over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully by the end of October into November, we'll get some of those heavier precipitation days. For tonight into Friday morning, we've got 37. Then our lows will start to improve. We'll get those temperatures back into the 40s for the low temperatures, even around 50 for Monday morning. and also Tuesday morning, which is going to be about 10 degrees above average. I know fall colors are a big deal this time of the year, and actually our peak color a little bit pushed back. We were thinking maybe towards the middle of October would be some of those peak colors. We're kind of pushing it back a week or two, so end of October, early November is when those peak conditions will happen. But we're already starting to see high color in our northern communities, peak color ongoing in the upper peninsula, even past peak in some spots closer to Wisconsin, away from the lakes. But for a lot of our central and southern communities, we're just in the moderate color. It would be high to peak color likely this weekend into next week, and then all of us will be at peak color to past peak as we go through the rest of October into early November. By the second week of November, likely going to see those colors, if not just getting more brown and more, unfortunately, not picturesque, if not just strewed across the ground because they have fallen off the trees as opposed to staying on them, because I'm sure we'll get some storm systems that will bring in some gusty winds and that'll pull a lot of those leaves off. If you were planning on going on a color tour this weekend, we do have very nice conditions weather-wise, as we've seen in our forecast. But even on the west side of the state towards Chicago, we've got 60s and 70s. You can see all of those icons, nothing but sunshine. And nothing but sunshine no matter where you go. We don't really have a cloud in the icon on any of these forecasts. So 60s and 70s across Canada into Ohio, here on the eastern side of Michigan, and then across northern lower Michigan. Once you get into the upper peninsula, maybe a little bit more cloud cover, but all in all, 60s, even 73 in Marquette. That's potentially maybe nearing some record temperatures up there. For us, it's just going to be abnormally warm, but not record-setting high temperatures in the 70s. You'd have to get into the 80s for those records here in October. Still, nonetheless, very nice. We will see gorgeous conditions Friday, Saturday, and Sunday across pretty much every community, county, and city here in the state of Michigan. And those temperatures in the 70s will continue through early next week. We've got 75 by Monday. That's likely going to be the warmest day we have in this extended forecast. As we go further along into next week, you can see 50s return on Thursday behind the cold front, 60s with the cold front on Wednesday, and then out ahead of it, we'll be at 73 on Tuesday. Just a small chance of rainfall for Wednesday with those 60-degree readings returning, and then we'll be back into the 30s behind that front for Thursday morning as well. So it will be a pretty significant push of cooler air, but it's going to get us from abnormally warm conditions down to more seasonable levels as we go towards our Thursday. I'm going to leave this up so you guys can take that 7-day forecast in a little bit more. If there's anything else you want to talk about, see when it comes to the forecast, you can write it in the comments. I'll be happy to mention it, but I'll also show this and just give you an idea of how abnormally warm it will be. So Friday will be 7 degrees above average, 10 degrees above average on Saturday. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, 15 to 17 degrees above average for this time of the year. And then as we creep closer to seasonable, we'll be back down towards 55 on Thursday. That'll be about 2 degrees below average. So we'll go from, again, abnormally warm, 15 or so degrees above average, to right around seasonable, if not seasonably cool by the end of next week. One reason that we are seeing this fall warmth is because we've had these setups before. It's called that omega block because it looks like the omega that you get from the Greek letters. We get that wave, and I'll kind of draw it here with the jet stream. So we get this wave that's digging along down into the western side of the United States. We get this big ridge that builds here into the Great Lakes, and then another system that will dive down towards the East Coast. And I apologize, something is beeping. That might just be the speakers. So what we are seeing is that big ridge that builds into the Great Lakes. You can see it even expanding a little bit more as we go further along. I'm going to get this jet stream off of the map, but you can see that it expands into the Great Lakes as we go towards the weekend and then starts to fall apart early next week. We'll see that wave that's off to the west kind of transitioning back on in to give us those cooler temperatures Wednesday into Thursday. But even as we go toward the end of next week into the weekend, it's not going to get drastically cold. It'll likely just be more seasonable, right around 60 rather than 40s or rather than 70s that we will see. So we've got a ridge in place that'll give us dry, sunny conditions and also those warm temperatures as well. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to show you when it comes to my graphics. I think that's pretty much it. So we'll throw that 7-day forecast back on the screen and we'll wrap it up here momentarily. All right, everyone. Appreciate you joining me here again on another Thursday edition of Beyond the Forecast. If there is anything you want to see, I know last week we pretty much talked the entire time about the aurora, which was fantastic. If I do say so myself, I was able to finally see it. It seems like in forever that we've had these chances. Haven't had the best conditions or just, no light pollution around me to really be able to see it. But we are now. And the Storm or Space Weather Prediction Center just gave us an idea that we are at the solar maxima, which means that the sun is outputting its highest amount of energy into space. So it's continuing to send those waves of particles towards us. So that's going to lead to likely more aurora chances here, not only for the rest of this year, but into 2025. So we'll hopefully continue to have those high chances, and we'll, of course, alert you when we are seeing that chance coming back to the state of Michigan. That's going to do it for me. I appreciate you joining me. We'll see you next Thursday.